Hi guys, and welcome back. This week we are going to be painting Marika.
Wait, we've already done this bit. Let's not do that again. Did you get it? It was like, Marika Radigan, and it was like, the joke, doing the thing, Yeah. So go on, get out of here. Go on, get out of here. For anyone wondering, that was indeed Mrs. Dark Souls. There she goes. She's the brains behind the operation, the one that sort of drives the channel forward. And she's the one that reminds me to eat and drink and helps me plan and schedule everything that we do on this channel. So she is the other better half of what I do here on YouTube. So saying that, last week we did Radigan, but this week we're going to be painting the better half of Radigan, which is Queen Marika. So first things first, what we want to do with Queen Marika the Eternal is glue her up. Let's get her glued. Now I think for the sake of ease for painting, I think I'm going to keep her headless so that I can paint the body, just to make things easier for me. So first things first, I'm going to get her primed with some black. Marika, I hardly know her. It's predominantly a black dress, so let's start with painting the skin, and we're going to do a quick zenithal highlight to give us a good bit of contrast. So white ink into the airbrush, a bit of thinner, and we'll start spraying on some highlights. Beautiful. There's our zenithal highlighted baldy. Fantastic. So let's kickstart, we'll do the skin, and I'm going to use a mix of colours. Shadows will probably be between Bugman's Glow and Night Quest of Flesh, and mid-tones being our Cadian Flesh tone, and then probably highlight with some Kislev Flesh, all done through the airbrush. So let's kickstart with some Bugman's Glow. Just following where we've mapped out with the zenithal highlight is where I'm going to be targeting these shadowed colours. You can see that the shadow colour has worked quite nicely with our zenithal highlight. So what I'm going to do, which sounds quite weird, is I'm going to mix in a bit of this Cantor blue into the Bugman's Glow, which should generate like that kind of cool shadowy colour. Working quite nicely, that sort of coldish blue and the deep skin tone. See how it's working quite nicely with each other. So on to the Cadian Flesh tone. So I'm going to shoot it from the other way because we want to be doing the highlights, not the shadows, which are underneath. So highlights from the top, shooting down. It's working quite nicely, and it's really shaping up this skin tone pretty cool. I'll zoom in here and kind of see how that's coming through nicely against the shadows and the highlights. Same on the leg. Pretty cool. So now we're going to move up into our highlight tone, which is Kislev Flesh. Again, top down, focusing on the brighter points. There we are, that highlight tone added in. Really taking shape now. So I've added some white into the Kislev Flesh, and we're just gonna blast that as our main brightest highlight. So with the airbrushing done, we've got our skin here. Looking pretty cool. We've got a nice sort of gradient from the Cantor blue shadow up through the Bugman's Glow, Cadian Flesh tone, and Kislev Flesh up into the bright white highlights. Nice. So let's do the dress. I'm going to address the dress. Because the dress is black, I'm going to be basing it with some Black Legion contrast, which should react nicely to our zenithal highlight. I'm also going to mix it with some contrast medium, and we'll just coat the entire dress. One thing I was thinking after I was painting Radigan last week, and how I was sort of losing my mind when things weren't going to plan, and I kind of had my little chaos moment where I just sort of painted over everything and started again because I didn't like the way things were looking. It's in those moments that I can really sort of beat myself up and think that really what I'm doing isn't good enough. A really big thing for me was having my partner, who we met earlier today, sort of with me, even having her like remind me for small things like take a break. Have you had some water? Have you had something to eat? Have you stepped outside? Have you had oxygen? You know, because once I get in that little crazy brain cycle of wanting to tear everything apart and start it again, it's really helpful having that support system. And I'm quite fortunate in that I have someone that will just really support what I do and just wants to help me succeed and make things the best that I can. And I'm very blessed for that. And it's a very wonderful and important thing, especially when I'm doing it for YouTube, because it can feel like quite an isolating thing because you spend so much time creating content. So much of my time goes into painting and doing the models, but also a crazy amount of time I spend editing the videos. I guess I'm just really fortunate that I have all of you guys who watch these videos, and you show your support by watching and engaging and commenting and enjoying the content that I put out, but also having like my close network of support as well. Like I have a really good core group of friends who really support what I do, and I'm always excited to show them like the new things I've done and the new videos I'm working on, and also getting them involved in doing different videos as well. It's such an important thing to have a good support network around you. It's so helpful, because otherwise I'm a sucker for free falling. And even though the whole point of the channel is to sort of like learn as I go and show what I've learned and improve every time, I can still get bogged down in the fact that if something doesn't go quite as planned or as well, I can get really stressed and just want to tear everything down and start again. So I couldn't be more thankful for the support and help I'm given. The fact that my partner is a social media expert and has helped spearhead this channel into what it is, and gives me lots of creative support and ideas, and things like that really make a difference, and it really, really helps. And I'm just really thankful, so I just want to say thank you to you guys for always tuning in. So all I'm doing now is I'm just layering in some Abaddon black and just blending it outwards from the darkest shadows. With the black blending complete to boost up the shadows, I'm now just quickly moving up into some lighter greys and whites and adding those into the upward facing parts of the model where the light source would reflect the most, just to beef up some of those highlights. Okay, time for the hair. Now this is quite light blondish hair, so these are the tones I'm going to be using for the blonde hair. Shadow will be the Mournfang brown. We're going to mix in some yellows of the Avalon Sunset, a mid-tone of Xandri Dust, a highlighty tone of Ashepti Bone, and adding in some white for bright highlights. So I'm just going to sort of mix between these tones on the wet palette, and we'll start generating, hopefully, the nice blondie tone that she has. I'm going to go with a 50-50 mix between the Corax White and Avalon Sunset, which will be our sort of main base tone. Cool, so there's our base done. So now we're going to start mixing in our different colours to bring this hair to life a bit. This will be our kind of darkest tone. Yeah, I'm keeping it nice and thin on these layers, just to start building up. You don't want too much paint on, because then you'll get far too much thickness and you won't be able to blend them as easy. Nice and thin. I'm kind of just focusing on just working these shadows in, sort of focusing areas that I think shadows would work best, sort of dips and rivets in the hair where shadow would be as well. Keeping them kind of in patches together, but at the same time giving some individual strokes as well. And when it comes to the plaits, I'm just going to kind of tuck this shadow tone on the bottom half of each plait. Very cool. So there we are. Our shadows added in. Looking very Radagon-esque at the moment. So let's move up into the Ashepti Bone layer. This will act as our sort of main highlight tone. I'll bring in some white as well, just to start getting some highlights blended. So there we are, that's the style I'm going for. And I'm just going to replicate that to the top of the head and then to the other side. And we can glue it on. So there's our hair done. Looking pretty hairy. I want to just get in the little gold details we've got. I'm just basing the gold with some Rhinox hide, just because the shadow tone of gold is more browny than it is black. So gold sitting on top of a black prime won't look as good as gold sitting on top of a brown one. Just being extra careful to not ruin the lovely hair that we've just done. Cool. So with the gold based with the brown, I'm going to move on to our main tone, which is the Gehenna's Gold, and I'll be attacking this sort of top down, going from the top, working down to sort of play into the brown shadows. And then I'm going to go and highlight the brighter areas with some of the Auric Armor Gold. And then just blend between the three, really. Let's get her head stuck on, shall we? Well, there she blows. Marika. I hardly know her. So what's left to do? Let's glue her on the base. That was easy. Well, there we go. There is the one and only Marika the Eternal. Pretty pleased with how that's come out. So it goes to show how if I take a break every hour or so, have some water, have something to eat, go outside, all these things make for a much more pleasant and better painting experience than just ploughing through for 7 hours like I did last week. And it just goes to show how much difference can be made when you have a lot more fun doing it. So that being said, that's Marika and Radagon done. What's left to do? Well, what's left to do is to thank you very much once again for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, or if you've learned something, please drop a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see all you guys next week. Peace out, gang, and don't you dare go holler.